Chapter 15. The first day of filming dawned with all the subtlety of a Kardashian getting hitched, albeit temporarily, in Vegas. Abernathy had come through with the equipment, transforming Milo's storage cottage into what looked like a yard sale at the Radio Shack estate, if Radio Shack had died and left everything to a film student with hoarding tendencies. A smallish green screen was set up in the corner of Soundstage 8.5, which surprised Milo because he thought Dynamo only had 7. Turns out 8.5 was the cottage next door. They were filming 3 scenes here this morning before moving to location tomorrow, and the cottage was stuffed with grips, gaffers, boom operators and best boys. Milo stood in the eye of this hurricane, clutching the script like a life preserver. His hair had clearly lost its battle with both gravity and sanity, sticking out at angles that made Einstein's coiffure look tame. Dark circles under his eyes suggested he either continued to be punched in the face with insomnia or he'd helped himself to Melody's eyeshadow palette. He'd shot a film before, of course, but it hadn't as been involved. Just he and his classmates at school. The stakes were much different this time. The actors were gathered next to the bathroom, all except for Ava. He glanced through the cottage, no sign of her. Poppy materialized at his elbow. "Houston, we have a problem." "Ava?" "No," she called. "She's running 5 minutes behind." Milo's shoulders sagged in relief. Thank God. But that meant there was another problem. "Give it to me." Her snapping gum sounded like a judge's gavel. "Props haven't arrived." "What do you mean? How can they not arrive? They were confirmed last week. Where are they?" "Supply chain issues? Alien abduction?" She shrugged. "Your guess is as good as mine, boss." "Okay, we can handle this." Milo pinched the bridge of his nose. "I need you to track down those props like your subscription to Variety depends on it." Poppy gasped. Not the Holy Grail. "Sorry." Poppy pushed through a gaggle of grips, pulling her phone. Milo turned back to the actors with a plastic smile. "We'll be starting with scene 37. Jack contemplates the nature of time." At least existential crises came pre-furnished with doubt and despair. Milo herded Owen over to his mark. His makeup looked pretty good, perhaps a little shiny. But hopefully that could be fixed in post. "I spent all night binge-watching YouTube tutorials on special effects makeup," Melody said, trailing after them. Milo swallowed. That didn't bode well. Poppy tossed him a look. Milo tried to placate her. "I'm sure it'll be fine. It never hurts to do some last-minute research." Melody brushed some last-minute powder across Owen's cheeks, somehow turning him even shinier. "I think that's enough," Milo said, and gestured to Poppy, and she ushered makeup out of the cottage while he positioned the actor in front of the green screen. "All right, let's block this out, Owen." "Jack." Milo blinked. "What?" "I'd prefer to be called Jack on set. I'm a Methodist actor." "Methodist?" "Yeah, all the greats do it. Frank Stallone, Eric Roberts." "You mean method?" "I'm pretty sure it's Methodist. My acting coach was very specific about it. Though come to think of it, he did spend a lot of time talking about salvation through performance." There was no time to argue. "Got it. All right, Jack, let's run it once. No pressure, just find the rhythm. Stand square to the lens, shoulders loose, and easy on the hands. Don't strangle the air." Owen nodded sagely, then proceeded to stare at the green screen with all the emotional depth of a lobotomized goldfish. Then he turned to Milo. "How's that?" What method was Owen using? Constipation. Milo opened his mouth, but then Poppy reappeared, her face a mask of gum chewing despair. "We've got a problem." "Another one?" His heart seized. "Is it Ava?" Poppy sighed. "Jesus Christ. No, it's not Ava. What is it with you and that girl?" Milo flushed. "Just checking. Turns out we're double booked. The props we ordered are currently being used in a period piece about the invention of the whoopee cushion." "A period piece about the invention of the whoopee cushion," Milo repeated slowly, as if saying the words might somehow make them less absurd. "What's next? A gritty origin story for the rubber chicken? A psychological thriller about the first joy buzzer?" It was bound to happen. Once they greenlit the Sea Monkeys movie, all bets were off, which when you think about it is nuts. Did you know that guy was a literal Nazi? Fantastic. Hollywood is really scraping the bottom of the barrel now. Or should I say, sitting on it. Panic seized his chest. He couldn't make his movie without props, especially not without the omniscient Pearl, the mystical MacGuffin around which the entire Golden Path plot revolved. We're dead in the water without the OP. It's like trying to make Jaws without the shark, or Lord of the Rings without the One Ring, Pulp Fiction without the... Milo? A voice cut through his spiral of despair. He turned to see a ray of cerulean sunshine. Ava smiled and held out an object. It was round, glistening, and... Is that... Milo couldn't finish his sentence, afraid that voicing the words might make the mirage start to vanish. The omniscient Pearl, in all its prophetic glory. Ava nodded. Or one of Wilson's stand-ins for Castaway. Milo blinked. That's a volleyball. Ava nodded. I gave it a spritz of white glitter hair dye. How did you know? Milo asked, shoulders dropping yet again. He'd given them quite the workout this morning. He'd even be able to skip a day at the gym, not that he ever went. One of the grips in the coffee lineup this morning said something about missing props. Milo didn't know how that was possible when he just found out himself, unless there was a bit of real lifetime travelling going on. Anyway, Ava continued, I stopped by the props department on my way here to deliver coffee and checked if they had anything that fit the bill of the Pearl. And when I saw the volleyball, I thought to myself, Milo could use this for his movie about time-travelling historians and metaphysical conundrums. A manic giggle escaped him, then a full-blown guffaw of relief. Tears pricked at the corners of his eyes. Ava's blue hair seemed to glow like a halo in the dim light of the cottage. Ava, you're a blue-haired angel sent from movie heaven. She grinned. He reached for the Pearl. Poppy's hand shot out and blocked his path. Hold up, she said, eyeing Ava. We can't just take props without proper documentation. There's protocol, forms to fill out, waivers to sign, ancient Hollywood curses to appease. Ava pulled out a piece of paper. Protocol. Another one. Documentation. And then something that looked suspiciously like a small doll in the shape of Poppy, complete with mini-bubble. Hollywood curse appeased. Silence. Then Milo did a little dance. Everything is in order. By God, we're going to make this movie if it kills us. Don't tempt fate, Poppy said through clenched teeth. Milo eyed Ava. Hang on to that Pearl for me. She smiled. You got it. Milo turned back to Owen Jack, who was still contemplating the miracle of green screen, which is when he saw it. Just outside the open cottage door, partially hidden behind a conveniently placed palm tree, a figure in a trench coat and fedora, brim pulled low enough to obscure the face. Still, Milo could feel the weight of their stare. Oh, come on. Not now. Everything okay, boss? Poppy asked, following his gaze. You look like you've seen a film critic. I'll be right back, Milo said on his way out the door. Creative inspiration, very sudden. Gotta catch it before it escapes. He burst out of the cottage in pursuit of the fedora-wearing figure, moving with the ease of someone who had studied at the Ethan Hunt School of Dramatic Escapes, while Milo gave chase with all the grace of a newborn giraffe. Wait! Milo called out. I just want to talk. Are you following me? Trying to steal my movie? Did Harrington send you? Is this revenge for turning down Storm of Steel 3, even stormier? But Fedora Person, Milo made a mental note to workshop a better name for his mysterious stalker, didn't answer, zigzagging through the lot. Milo lost sight of him near the front gates, then spotted him again in the street. Milo followed, vaulting over hedges, slipped out the front gate and narrowly avoiding collision with a pack of surprisingly aggressive chihuahuas out for their morning constitutional. Then he looked around. Fedora Person had vanished. Milo skidded to a stop, spinning in a circle, searching for any sign of his elusive quarry, but his quarry was gone. Impossible, he said. People don't just disappear. Unless... A blaring horn snapped him out of his paranoid reverie. Milo realized he was standing in the middle of the street, looking like a sweaty, dishevelled lunatic. "Get out of the road, you bum!" an elderly woman shouted from behind the wheel of a yacht-sized Cadillac. Milo raised a hand in apology and scrambled back to the sidewalk. He drew a deep breath, attempting to centre himself like every acting coach he couldn't afford had always advised. No more distractions. He had a movie to make. And somewhere in that cottage was a volleyball coated in white glitter hair dye that was about to give the performance of its inanimate life. Assuming Owen didn't try to method act with it first.